This is Matt with Whittier Boat Rental. This is our 27-foot Seasport Navigator. This aft compartment on the transom houses the drive trim switch. Should you need to trim the drive, the switch is located here. Under normal operating conditions, you wouldn't need to move the drive. However, if you do need to raise it, you want to lower it down all the way until you hear a noise change and then bump it up just a little bit. It's very important that you don't operate the engine with the drive up. The U-joints will bind and you'll have outdrive issues. Battery switch is also located here. Normally you would operate on one or both, and then at night shut it down to one or the other. Then in the morning, if you need additional battery power, switch to both. This breaker is for the shrimp pot puller. Should the motor trip, this is where you would reset the breaker. Pot puller operates the switch located here. As I showed you before, if the breaker pops, if the motor stops operating, it's the breaker located on the back transom. Kicker motor is electric start. Want to be sure it's in neutral. Pull the choke out. Electric start. At the end of each use, we run it out of fuel so the carburetor doesn't get dirty. You need to plug that back in and pump the fuel in if you were to start it. Located in the engine compartment is a Volvo CAD 41 200 horse diesel. This is the sea strainer. Should the engine overheat, this is your first culprit. Usually the strainer becomes clogged with weeds or garbage. This cover on the pump should always remain cold. If for any reason this gets warm, you probably have an impeller issue. The saltwater washdown pump is located on the side wall there. There's a strainer, also a seacock controls that. The hose for the washdown located on the back wall, and then the switch is right above it. Need to turn it on. That's how you turn the pump on. There's two rake cores. First one up there. Second one located there. If you have engine trouble, usually it's because the first one is clogged. There's plenty of replacements under the seat and the helm. This boat has two fuel tanks, two 75-gallon tanks. Valving for them is here. This would operate on the starboard tank. Switching both valves would switch you to the port tank. When you switch valves, it's imperative that you switch both of the valves so that the supply and the return are operating on the same tank. Should you need to shut down the system to change filters, that will turn your fuel supply off to both filters. Under normal operating conditions, you wouldn't need to check the oil or the antifreeze. If you have an issue and you see a leak, you're going to want to call us. Inside the main cabin heat. Thermostat's controlled on the wall here. It's a diesel fired furnace located under the seat cushion. Discharge is right there. And want to make sure that you don't put anything up against that discharge. It gets very hot. This table converts into a bunk and the cushions cover for sleeping. You would loosen the bolt at the bottom of the base. The table pushes down and then the cushions fill it in. Alcohol stove. Directions are located on the bottom of the stove top. There's also extra alcohol located in there, along with extra belts water pump impellers, and other various spare parts. The document for the boat, all the paperwork is located in this green bag. Safety equipment, life jackets located underneath the forward seat, distress signals located under the front seat. There's also a box of tools, which you hopefully won't need. Fire extinguishers, one's located behind the captain's seat, other one on the wall. Circuit breakers for this boat are located in the V-berth. Main panel is here. This is for the anchor winch. Should the anchor winch quit working, just reset it here. It's important with the anchor winch that you don't use the winch to pull the boat up and pull the anchor out of the mud. You want to free the anchor using the boat first, and then use the winch to lift the anchor. The marine head is a manual flush toilet, manual pump. If you need water, go to wet, pump it, water will come in. You want to discharge the bowl, go dry, pump it out. Electronics on this boat, we have 2 Garmin sounders and GPSs. Normally I would use the upper one for a chart plotter, and then this one I would put on a split screen. This one has the better sonar, tracks bottom a little bit better. We also have a radar, VHF. Normally this engine would idle at about 600 to 800. Want to watch temperature. Normally operating temp is about 160. If you see it approach 200, you want to shut down. Something's wrong, probably something in the sea strainer. You want to keep an eye on your voltage, keep an eye on your oil pressure. When shutting the engine off, you need to turn the key all the way. Turning it all the way kills the fuel pump solenoid. You want to make sure you shut it off all the way. Just shutting to the center position will deadhead the alternator and cause charging problems. Trim tabs, I would recommend starting with both tabs all the way up, and then as you start cruising, you're going to want to lower the bow just a bit, get into the best angle for you, and then raise the tabs once you're set.